everybody. Welcome to the Enough Said podcast this week. Believe it or not, we are in week 7. So welcome, everybody. Just a reminder to please email us at the Enough Said crew at gmail.com this week. We have a great show this week and a great panel. So without further ado, let's introduce everybody. So I'm going to start with my friend since kindergarten. This guy has been on since week 1, has been on the Jalen Hurts train, and he likes to drive in the fast lane. You should see him with Formula One and his racing. This guy can tear you up on the road. Andre, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on?
All right. And this next guy also is a regular. You know, his microphone may be too loud, but he sure as hell ain't too proud. Ladies and gentlemen, Jermaine, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, big microphone? What's going on? You got some competition this week, but it's all good.
All right. And of course, a guy who is kind of a regular every week. And I will say this guy is waiting for Jimmy G to get taken out so Trey Lance can show him what it's all about. Nothing can be finer than being a 49er. Mike, what is up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? Good to be here.
And we are thrilled to have on our show today a special guest. This guy has been employed by more NFL teams than Nick Foles. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross, what's going on, the boss?
What's up, Ross?
Start this weekend, though. So it's
What's up,
Ross?
Hey, Ross.
Glad to have you, man. Glad to have you.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here. This will be fun.
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to it. We've been looking forward to this for a while. And I thank Mike for introducing us. Mike is a client of a company that I work for. And so we were thrilled to meet up. And it all started, just a little quick backstory here. It all started when they met up at a Flyers game and Mike yelled, "Capitals suck." That's what it all started. And then it led to the beefaroni. So but we'll enough on that. We'll get to that later. But Ross, talk to us a little bit. So tell us first, like who were you employed by and what did you do for the NFL?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I've been so fortunate because of great people looking out for me and kind of paying it. I try to pay it forward everywhere I can. But I started as a coaching video intern with the Baltimore Ravens during their second year. Mm-hmm. So coming out of college, I knew where I was working that first year. And it was just like, oh, that's incredible. So just always been a huge fan, always wanted to work in it. So spent 3 years there, ended up with the Washington football team during Norv Turner's last year. Okay. Where I could afford it because Norv paid me to shoot his son's high school games as well.
Oh, wow.
So I put together his college recruitment video.
That's incredible.
So now as he is the offensive coordinator with Washington, it's fun to see like, oh, there's Scott.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it would be meeting with Norv along the fence, you know, in Northern Virginia high schools. And Norv would always have a bag of popcorn and I would have a burger or something like that. And he'd give me the scouting report of what was going to happen during that game. So like he knew it and paid attention to it. So it was awesome being with Coach Turner there through everything and, you know, just being part of the family a little bit. And then as he got let go and members of his staff went up to Cleveland, they brought me up to Cleveland with them. So Butch Davis's first year I was there and the coaching staff was Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles, Todd McNair.
Wow.
You know, it was a rock star group. Chuck Pagano.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it was a pretty incredible staff there. And then I just decided I loved being on the football ops side, but I'm just someone who always pushes like, what more can I do? So I took a step back and lost my full-time job and went and got an internship with Baltimore again, this time in public relations. So that led to that internship and then inheriting BaltimoreRavens.com and managing that for 3.5 years before moving on to NFL Network and working on the news desk at NFL Network out in LA.
Nice.
Then NFL.com came in house. So I moved over to that side because I had the digital background as well. So that's the bulk of it. I ended up going to some digital agencies and stuff after that. But then ended up back with the Washington football team again, working more on content. Got to host a Thursday morning in studio show, got to do some interviews and things like that. But then also shooting, editing, writing, you know, digital managing editor for all of that. So it was like anything content was coming through, and each of these spaces, a lot of times these teams didn't have the largest teams of content people. The Eagles are in a great place with Spuds and Chris and all of those guys. They're awesome. They're some of my best friends in the league. So I'm always happy with the Eagles and like to see what they're up to. But it is there's a lot of sacrifice. There were people that flew yesterday on Christmas Day to prepare for today's games. There are obviously two teams that played. So I want to say thank you to all the people that are working in it, whether it's on the broadcast side, media side, or with the teams, because they make it so that we can enjoy an event on Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, all of that. So just a lot of great experiences, a lot of incredible people. And, I feel fortunate, and it gives me an opportunity as a JAG, just a guy, to be welcomed on a podcast like this, where I get to share some stories, even though I'm just kind of the, Forrest Gump off to the side.
Oh, man, it's great. Yo, Jermaine, I know you wanted to ask him a question specifically about one interview he did, so go ahead, man.
Well, my burning question is, Ross, I was told that you had an interview with T.O. And I was just trying to see, with T.O., they had that class. Him and Donovan had that class. I mean, what did he really have to say about that? I know it's always two sides to a story, Ross, but I think I'm more in tune with what T.O. has to say, because he brings the drama, and I believe that he's going to tell the truth, about what really happened, especially that Super Bowl year, when he actually hurt his ankle and everything, so.
Yeah, Jermaine, great question. I'm sure a lot of Eagles fans think about that a lot. Because what T.O. did during that season was unbelievable, and especially coming back from that injury. So when I talked to him, I was like in week 2 with the Minnesota Wild in the NHL. So I have worked in the NHL as well. And it was for it's a large gala for hearing aids, actually. Okay. So on this same day, I talked to Gene Simmons from Kiss. Katy Perry was there. She didn't do interviews, but still walked down the red carpet and things. So lots of like actors came through, like Vern Troyer came through. So like Mini-Me was rocking through it all as well. But T.O. was one of the people that I definitely wanted to talk to. And we didn't get into football a ton. We talked about the event. But I mean, he was a couple years out already, and he just looked ripped. So like, I told him a little bit of my background. I was just like, man, you look like you could step out there right now. He's like, I probably could if someone wanted to give me that chance. It's funny seeing locker rooms and how guys personalities can alter them some. But I also think it's very interesting. I think if you put, this will be very unpopular with a lot of people, but if you look at the things that Brett Favre has done off the field and how they were documented, if T.O. did those things, it would have been a completely different story.
True.
So, maybe the guys don't like T.O. I've never been in the locker room with T.O., so I can't answer that. A locker room is sacred. You don't know what's going on place to place there. But, a lot of people love Favre and a lot of people don't love T.O., but you put if you put the boxing stats side by side of who did what, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy there?
Don't tell Ron that, guys.
Outside of that, just... T.O., what a player, what a performance, especially in that Super Bowl, putting everyone on his back. And I think he would have made Donovan a better quarterback if he had been there longer.
I've seen some documentaries on basically T.O.'s side of basically him being the villain in the NFL, and in the sense of his confidence and how he put himself on the field and how much mouth he runs on the field and stuff. But that's his game plan, But me just looking at documentary, I agree with Jermaine. Like, I think he's telling the truth, There is documentary out there that actually he does talk about a little bit about what happened, and it's really interesting. So even was a snippet that he said about Brett Favre that kind of brought this controversial thing with Donovan, where he said, "Hey, we could be 6-1 if we had Brett Favre, but we're 4-3." And the media just took it out of proportion after it came back, and Donovan took it like, "What? Like, really?" So, you got to do your homework and research on documentaries. I have, but it's I just want to point that out.
No, cool. Mike, questions?
Not yet. I'm gonna get to them.
All right. All right.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, so one of the things that, I always wanted to know, so like week to week, I mean, just the stress of the NFL, how do these coaches and guys deal with this? Like, how do they get ready for with their families and everything? I mean, we had Andy Reid here and everything he went through with his son, right? And he just had a rough time. And it was like, his father tried to be there, but it's just such a drag, trying to find that time to spend with your family and you're a head coach. So what can you say a little bit about that and the pressures? Like how do these coaches deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all handle it in different ways. It is for an NFL coach's partner, like it really is a partnership. Like whether it's a marriage or anything, it is. I know how much this is going to take, and here's what I'm going to do to support that. So that does a lot of it. Like one thing that I used to love when Mike Nolan was on the staff in Baltimore. His wife would drive him to work every day so that they would have that time. And then she would pick him up at the end of the day.
That's cool.
Just so they could have that little bit of extra time there.
Yeah.
And every Monday, win or lose, she brought in cookies. So she made cookies and then she brought them in and took them around the building to the staff and things. So you get those special moments, and it's so easy to sit back and be like, oh, I hate this coach. I hope they get fired and this and that. But it just, there's so much else behind it.
Yeah.
And you really are like when people are just, oh, didn't you read this? Didn't you see this?
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't, because you're so caught up and you're so busy and you're really insulated in your building. Just think of anyone coming after you and your friends on anything. Like you gather together and it's just like, no, let's keep all this other stuff outside and keep each other safe.
Right.
That's what I've seen more often than not in the NFL. And that's the beauty of it. And the people that are working hard together. And that's, even when you hear about teams tanking at the end of the year for a pick, I don't, maybe someone at the highest level or higher levels decides, hey, we're not going to activate this person. But if you're on that field, you're committed to trying to make NFL history that day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean like if you're getting crushed that you're not like, you know what? I'm not going to tackle Derrick Henry coming full speed at me and I may just dive a little bit. Maybe that factors in. But for the most part, every play that these players get and every play that these coaches get is their resume for the next job. So they don't want a more qualified person coming in because they can potentially lose their job. Got when you hear about this, and every play could be your last play in the NFL, your body's at risk every single play as well. So that's where I have a hard time sometimes when media get into, they're tanking for this and that. Like, you know what? I guarantee that this backup linebacker could give a damn if a quarterback is coming with the first pick next year and potentially costing him a job because of a salary cap thing or, however you're looking at it. If you're out there, you want to make the play every single play. And these coaches and players, they're all competitive too. They want bragging rights on someone.
Right.
So no one wants to go out there and be like, oh, we want a better pick next year. Let me not tackle this guy so I look like a fool and I get cut.
Right.
That's one way I look at it, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
So Ross, real quick. So is there tales of the two worlds where you have the NFL and the athletes and their conglomerate in the locker room, and then with you working in the media relations versus what the media does? They have to fight that all the time. I mean,
it's a relationship. It is. You probably have great relationships. You probably have challenging relationships in your daily life. The media has a job. And there are people that are going to go about it. Hey, here's the right way to do it. And here's the way that I can get ahead by cheating and doing it. So it's this constant dance, like if you're thinking of what Chris and Spuds and those guys for Eagles.com can report, they typically can't report something until the ink is dry on the contract. But, everyone else, Erskine and all the other guys and all the media out there, they can say, oh, I just learned from the agent that he's signing. But it's not dry yet. So the team can't do it until it's official for the most part. Some teams are giving a little bit more there, saying, hey, this is being reported by so-and-so.
Right.
But they can't report it. So it's always a matter of, do the players trust the team?
Yeah.
That's a big part of it as well is, okay, you know what? Are they here to promote me? Their job is to promote the team. If you're in media relations, you want the team to look great. You're taking care of your coaches, the owners, this and that. So it's like with it's political to a sense.
Yeah. Right.
The players could get cut tomorrow and, their contracts aren't guaranteed. They may have guaranteed money in there.
Yeah.
So there's always that dance. Like you need each other to help. It's like when a magazine wants to interview someone so that they can sell more magazines, but they're not going to pay you for the interview. It's like, yeah, but you need the exposure.
Right. Okay.
So it all ties back into that. And it goes public relations 101, media relations 101 there. With most teams, there's a great relationship, and there's typically one or two outlets or individuals where you're just like, okay, that's the tricky one. We know that they're going to say something just to rile people up.
Sure.
But that ahead of time. But there's that level of respect because everyone's working their tail off, whether you like them or not. They're there when the facility opens in the morning. They're there covering things when it closes at night. And that's what makes it awesome, is because there's so much energy going into it. But that's what makes it tricky as well, because there is so much energy going into it and everyone's passionate about it.
See, we don't realize that because, like you said, today is game time. So when we look at that, it's like it's game time. But what you're saying is everything behind the scenes of what brings everything together is wow. It's awesome. It's awesome and people don't realize that because like me, I'm just being honest. It's like, okay, it's game time. All right, let's just put the product on the field. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
and I mean this morning there were for the 1:00 games.
yeah,
There were definitely equipment people and trainers waking up at 4:30 this morning.
yeah,
So I used to have to go over with them on the early bus to help set things up and get our equipment ready and things. So it is,
wow.
it's in the hotel restaurant getting breakfast for an area that isn't really open yet, but that the team, and the operations people for the teams are unbelievable. Like they have to handle all the schedule, all the buses, all the hotels,
Right.
all the food at the stadium after the game. Like
Yeah.
it's unbelievable the Army mentality that goes into this and the people that don't get enough credit for what they
Exactly.
do
That's what,
to make it all work.
Yeah.
But then it's awesome to celebrate when you see the lights go on.
Yeah.
When you see that opening kickoff happen, and it's just like, okay, you work so hard all week and all off season to provide those 3 hours and hopefully a great outcome,
Right.
not only for yourself, but for the fans, because they're a part of it as well. And the people that work there are invested in, they care about the community. They live in that community.
Right.
Yeah.
So it all boils back to everyone there is working their tail off and wants to win.
Yeah.
Some teams are just better than others. And sometimes you get a bounce or a call as well. So, you have to learn that day to day. I remember the Ravens lost I want to say it was 9-6 or 6-3 game in Jacksonville. And Matt Stover was the kicker and I was his ground camera for my first 3 years. So every kick he did, I was shooting pretty much from waist down so that he could watch it after practice. And he would kind of teach himself or drive points home himself by talking them out loud. So he would use me as the sounding board and he would teach himself through talking to me. So I'm learning about all this stuff. He looked at me and it was late in the game and I was doing the black and white printers before they had the Microsoft Surface on the sideline. So I'm doing those pictures,
Yeah.
which is like the most stressful, least, most thankless job in the NFL. Like it is just awful.
Can't imagine.
But you know, the game went by very quick, but I had like the little remotes in my hands, but I'm like chewing on my nail. And Stover, I see him looking over at me and just laughing. Like it's this like super stressful moment. I'm doing this, and he's like, "Ha ha ha! Look at you all stressed out." And it's like, and that's why he was a good kicker, because he was just like, you know what? If I have to kick, I'll go out and kick right now. I'm not letting this get to me. So, you know, those super fun little lessons that you get as you go, and you're working with these unbelievable professionals. And you know, another one just story here that a lot of people don't see the Deion Sanders side. Everyone sees prime time, all the time. I've been so lucky to work around Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Deion Sanders, all of these guys. It is the players that study tape.
Sure.
Like that's their number one job. Like that's more important, is to know what's happening. Almost, it's as important as making the play. But seeing Deion that year in Washington, that crazy year in Washington, when Bruce Smith was there, Jeff George was there, and all of that. 3 rookies were coming out of the locker room ready to leave towards the end of the day. Deion's coming out of the training area and walking towards the locker room. He's like, "Hey, young bucks, where you guys headed?" "Oh, you know, we've got this and that going on." He's like, "Did you watch the tape on this game or that game yet?" "You know, we were kind of do that tomorrow." He's like, "Oh, yeah, maybe you should watch that tape instead of doing whatever you're going to go do right now." Those guys went back and watched tape.
What's the tape?
Like, and that's the leadership that everyone doesn't see from the persona that Primetime had versus Deion Sanders, the Hall of Fame cornerback. And that's how you win games. Like that's when you have people doing that, and when you can tell a player that you're lining up against that, hey, here's what you're going to run because you guys are in this formation and your right foot is back and your left foot is forward. Here's what you're going to do here.
Wow.
And you can get in people's heads that way. And Rod Woodson was very good at that as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought people won games by taping practices like Bill Belichick.
I
know nothing behind the scenes on that, I
promise. Hey, Ross, this is summing all up on my side. What's your take far as the NFL, the state of the NFL in the next 5 years?
I think moving, having this extra game, this extra regular season game is going to make everything interesting. And obviously, with one of the craziest weekends ever between injuries and COVID and everything else, is just like, how much is the NFL, how much is the world going to be able to adjust, but much less an entertainment, corporation like this. But I love the salary caps going back up again, so teams are going to get new chances and, hopefully sign their biggest players and the cycle of it all. And I think what's thrown it all out of whack is Tom Brady leaving New England. Now it's like open for everyone.
Right.
He obviously went to Tampa and they went up, and Belichick had to take that step back, and he had that harsh reality. But, what a motivator, what a coach, I've never worked for him, so I can't say. I know some people that didn't have the greatest experience under him, but he wins. So what is it worth to you? And you hear some players complain about it, and then other players stick up for him, and it's just like, that's an interesting dynamic. But the NFL right now, like, this is the perfect storm. No one knows who's going to win the Super Bowl right now. No one knows who's going to be in the Super Bowl right now. We don't know who's going to the playoffs right now for the most part. Like, this is the perfect storm for the NFL. This is what parity's all about. Like, they want week 17 and now 18 games to matter. And to say, hey, the playoffs started 2 weeks ago, really. Like, because there are teams like, okay, if we lose the Steelers, if we lose another one, we're done. We need to roll the table here.
Right.
And can we continue that into the playoffs if we do make that happen? So
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. I think it is going to be, I think with more teams looking at how college offenses are run
Mm-hmm.
and incorporating that into their offense, that means some more dynamic players are going to come into the fray and maybe get opportunities that wouldn't have gotten opportunities before. And there's just so much. I love the league. Like, everyone throws their slings at Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to happen. Like, people loved it. Oh, the NFL's doing this, Goodell's doing that. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect, but
Right.
like when you're that massive,
Yeah.
it is. I wake up and when I'm ready for kickoff, I'm one of those suckers where it's just like, oh, Jacksonville versus Houston on Thursday night. I'm pulling up in front of the TV. Like,
Right.
I want to watch how it's going to play out. I want to see, how is this team scheming against this team? How is this injury going to impact things? Like watching the Colts last night, who started the game without 3 of their
Lyman.
starters on the offensive line, including
Right.
Quentin Nelson, who
Yeah.
I see as the heart and soul of that offense.
Mm-hmm.
But then Darius Leonard being out as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then to grind out that win, and Jonathan Taylor having his one big run, but the rest of it was all grinding. It was, as you all with Eagles fans, I grew up in the DC area with the Hogs and John Riggins and Art Monk.
Yeah.
And it was, you know what? The Hogs are going to grind you. And you're going to pay for that. And then when the Giants were amazing, they had the line.
Yeah.
When the Eagles were winning, they had the line with Cunningham behind them.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts up front. So like overcoming that and learning, that's a fun part. And that makes every game exciting.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Ross.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah,
Go, Mike.
Ross,
Go,
I just
Mike.
had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You kind of touched a little bit on it. The 17-game season. Have you kind of heard a lot of feedback from players and staff and everything? How are they adjusting to it? And I imagine that has to be taking a kind of like a human toll on people. I mean, I know the money's great, but everything behind the scenes, has it made things more stressful, or is it business as usual? Or
well, I'll start with the money's great for the players and the coaches, and
Okay.
some coaches. So otherwise, the money is a job. So I mean, you typically don't get paid a ton on the staff side. It's passion. Like you love it. You love being part of it. Like it is like, that's the cool part there. But otherwise, no one has said anything yet. I try to give a lot of space to my friends during the season. I know, just with a 16-game season, the wear and tear, and that's without making the playoffs. Like as long as I worked in the league, I made the playoffs once and we were one and done. So I never even won a playoff game during all that time. So it's tough. But it's one of those things where, hopefully your organization is just like, hey, we're going to shut down for a little while, give everyone a breather. But the off season is just as busy as the regular season, like scouting combine, now cover this, cover that, owners meetings, the draft, mini camps. Like it gets going really quick again. So I just hope, from a mental health standpoint, and I know the Jim Irsay and the Colts have done a lot with this and calling it out, making sure you take care of your people and making sure that they're given the opportunity to kind of recover a little bit, because it is demanding. It is long hours. It is like, it's awesome, but but the human body can take so much. And then especially if you have a stress level going with it and things. So it's, I will look forward to talking with my friends and making sure they're okay once the season is over.
Okay.
Hopefully a lot of them get the chance to be the most exhausted and play in that final game, but only 2 get that chance.
Only
So
2.
we'll see how that plays out.
Gotcha. All right.
I got something real quick to say, because I was listening to what you're saying about, it still is on the same topic, about the adjustments that they're making with the 17 weeks and stuff. And it's going to lead into where I don't think teams that are like on the top of the division right now can't sit their players for that last week. And I was trying to like argue that with my buddy down there in the corner, Jermaine, about them Cowboys just can't sit Dak Prescott because it's 17 weeks. So you can't say that no more. And that's what I was trying to argue, you know.
Well, and Dak hasn't been sharp for a little while.
You
So
know.
like he needs those reps to get, practice reps are great and players need those constantly. Like I just finished teaching a semester of intro to sports media at Butler University. So I do that as well, just trying to pay it forward and help students and have guest speakers and things like that.
Nice.
Teaching them how can they succeed getting in sports, and setting them up for the right reasons there. But it is so much of it is about getting those reps. You want that. Like when guys are like, I don't want to miss practice. They don't. They want to get out there and they want to say, watching Aaron Rodgers throw to Devontae Adams last night, and when he throws like 3 counts before Adams is even turning around, like on a quick out, but it's right there.
Yep.
That's rep. I mean, that's talent. Like Aaron Rodgers is unbelievable. Adams is unbelievable.
Right.
But that happens because they have those reps as well. Like you physically have to do it.
Right.
It's like doing those little drills at the beginning of every practice, from the time you're playing Little League, Pop Warner until now, a lot of those same drills stay the same because you need to be able to do this every day so that you're ready on the field.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's just tried and true. And like whether you're playing a guitar, whether you're writing, get reps. You know what? If you want to be a writer, start a blog today.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way to do it. Yeah. So prep that way. And that's, me being able to learn from coaches and professional athletes in what they do and how to translate that into day-to-day life. Like I consider myself very fortunate for that.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Well, definitely, Ross. We're looking forward to when the off season comes and you get to talk to your friends and see where they're really at. We definitely got to bring you back on just to give us some, shine some light on that to see how they really feel and stuff like that. So we're definitely looking forward to that, Ross.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah,
that's great. No, and a good transition into to the next segment. But just real quick, let's leave it at this. Let's say, Ross, you talked about teaching, about the university and things like that. What if somebody wants to get started in the league? I mean, what an incredible way to start your career, just right out of the gate, going to the NFL. So if somebody wants to do that, what do you recommend or say to them?
Say yes and go after everything.
Okay.
I was lucky, and there are only so many roles that are there. So like other people may have to like look for nonprofits locally. It could be volunteering at a YMCA so that you get opportunities to promote an event. Like it's reps and how are they translatable? So like even with my sports media students, I tell them, hey, you're learning it in sports media, but this is also entertainment. This could also be taken to if they have media coverage for JP Morgan, this can translate there as well. Everything that most of what I was doing was always infotainment. Like how are we educating, but making it fun so that someone wants to do it? Because, how many ads do you see where you're just like, who wrote this? Like this was written by the owner of the company saying something that they thought was important and it's completely missing the mark with an audience. So how do you relate to the audience? And that's so much of what it is, but it's a lot easier to teach it with sports because you already have this. Yes, everyone loves the Eagles. Everyone loves the Flyers. There's already this love mark that's there. So in a perfect world, if you already had this established, you can do X, Y, and Z to try and bring it to more people or get them more engaged. So it's really about, it's creating that connection that started from our parents, our grandparents growing up with it and passing it along. Like my mom took me out of school when I was little to go to the Super Bowl parades for Washington. So I'm downtown as a little kid getting on the metro, like remembering that like back in the 80s, that was awesome, and then that made me care that much more. And I take that with me today, but I think about that when I'm in my classroom of how can I inspire this kid to try this? But you know what? It may be, if you work in minor league baseball, you're one of the hardest workers ever because you have like 4 different jobs to do, and there are so many games. So if you're just looking for, hey, I want to restart my career and I'm willing to do anything, go find something in minor league baseball. You will if you can make a mark there, you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then just more opportunities keep coming up. You know, as you have the USFL ads coming on right now. There's the G League for the NBA. There's women's sports are growing. It's such a great rate, and the level of play just continues to improve. So, you know, women's college basketball, WNBA, all of that. There are opportunities. Start your own blog, even. You know what? If you're not even ready for a real job, do a blog and commit to a schedule. If you're going to write once a day, you better write something once a day. If you're going to write once a week, you better write once a week. Because once you break that promise to any followers,
that's it.
You lose their trust.
Yeah.
So it's all about just creating that relationship and that trust and having those reps and, you know, committing to yourself to try to get better at it every day as well.
Yep.
Yeah, just like with this podcast, Ross. You know,
Amen. Like that's how this works.
I mean, it started off with just us three, Sal. We just sat there. Let's just do a podcast. Then we start bringing people in like Mike and Kiana, Ron, and you know, we don't know where this thing can actually go. But like you said, the commitment, you know, and putting in the time and not missing that time because we do every other week. It's, you know, I'm excited about it every time I wish we could do it every week, you know, but it probably will get to that time. But at the same time, what we're doing right now is getting better, you know, of what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Ross. You know, it goes a long way as far as that consistency and commitment.
So I went to Art Monk football camp twice when I was in high school.
Okay.
And one year, Mark Rippon. Like I was a backup quarterback in high school and like a backup linebacker who played special teams. So, you know, again, I didn't really matter, but I got on the field once in a while. But I remember someone asking Mark Rippon, you know, what can you advise? What should I do as a quarterback to get better? And he's like, I'm going to keep this simple. Throw 100 passes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And start there.
Here's your reps.
So... And that's what it was. And it's just, it's sitting there and it's going through that motion and it's paying attention to that because it's all in those details. Like, you know, when you're throwing those passes, don't go willy nilly. Like think, how are your hips? Where are your feet? Where are your shoulders? What's your follow through?
Right.
You know, so that you don't even, you know, once those things become habit, that's when it's powerful. So, you know, again, you guys are throwing your 100 passes every other week right now. And then that can just keep building.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and these guys know my goal is to get Kay in here from NFL Network, and we're trying to get her. I know it's a long shot, but we're gonna keep working at it. But maybe it's right. Maybe it's volunteering through, you know, NFL Network and some of the events they have in the community, and just building that relationship with her. But totally on board, like you said, with repetition. I know I'm in a band, and I was playing 7 nights a week at one point. And when I was playing 7 nights a week, I was playing and hearing chords and notes that I never heard before. And it just takes you to a whole nother level. So I was doing my 100 reps, getting out there every night, listening to the crowd, hearing what they were doing. And what a difference it made. I mean, and it prepared me now for what we're doing. I mean, we're out on Spotify and all these iTunes now and all that. And you're absolutely right. Whatever you do in life, be enthusiastic about it and just go out and do it and live and breathe it. And you got to love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it'll show.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah. And this is all about the fan perspective, you know. This is what this podcast is the fan perspective. I might say some off the wall stuff that make no sense to you might be in Ross, but it makes sense to me, you know. And Jermaine said every week.
There's nothing quite like putting content out there and then finding out how much of an idiot you are from everyone else in the world.
Exactly. I mean, you know, exactly. I mean, I'll be saying some off the wall stuff like for example, right now, what is going on in Arizona? They lost again. Okay, so they supposed to be the best team in the NFC, and they're not showing it. Look like they're about to just go down, and then
Well,
they're going to lose
they're
it.
doing what they did last year.
Exactly.
Oh, they sure, yeah.
Start out hot and
They
finish
are
cold.
who you thought they were.
Yeah, exactly.
They are.
And they let him off the hook. So
Yeah,
I mean, we did a lot of stuff like Patrick Mahomes. We were talking about he's not worth $500 million. We said stuff like that, and you listen to that, you're like, what? He's not worth $500 million. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And right now, he's not.
Yeah. We have a guy, Ross, who thinks that Brett Favre, this is all-time quarterbacks, mind you, thinks is the number 3. Brett Favre is the number 3 all-time quarterback of all time, higher than Montana, higher than United, all these guys.
Do you agree with that, Ross?
Yeah, I'm not going to be in that boat.
That's good.
There you go.
There you go.
He did some incredible things, and he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he has a lot of people that look up to him. But
is he a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Yeah, I think he accomplished. I think he accomplished enough to do that.
Jermaine?
Yeah, I don't think.
I'll say on the field, yes.
Well, I think we all agree that Brady was probably the number 1 of all time. I mean, I don't think there's anybody probably better than Brady. Is there anybody else, Mike, that you would say is probably a better quarterback all time than Brady?
Basically, give me
Brady's
just give me
number
your 5, your top 5.
Yeah, Ross. What do you
All
have for your
time,
top
Ross.
5 all
Who's your
time?
top
Okay.
5?
All right, I'll go Brady 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we all agree.
Probably Montana 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hate this. Like I'm big on championships, so I'm gonna put Bradshaw 3rd.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Just because that's when you put it up. Like a lot of guys can throw for yardage, and especially with the way the game is now. So I'll put that there. So we've got those 3.
2
Manning
more.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Manning easily could have been 2 if he had 1 more Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Peyton Manning. Yeah.
Not Eli.
You know what? I'm not.
You said
Wow.
Manning.
I don't hate on Eli, but at the same time, Eli is not Peyton.
Just trying to make it clear because somebody be out there saying, "Oh, he put Eli Manning at number 4."
Yeah.
So.
And I'm trying. Who would I put at 5 to round
Please don't
that
say
out?
John Elway. Like, well.
You know what? My family had season tickets to the Colts before they moved, so I was in 2nd grade when they moved, and I didn't go to school the next day. Not that March 28th, 1984 stands out in my head at all. When the Mayflower trucks moved out.
I'm going to say the Mayflower truck in the snow.
Yeah, that's emblazoned in my head already. But always it was a big reason for that. So
Okay.
Once he decided he wasn't going to play there, as great a tackle as Chris Hinton was, that didn't bring fans to the park. So 5, let me go. What? I'm going to give someone more recent.
Yeah.
Their spot on there. Like this list, I could change every time I thought about it.
Right.
Yep.
And maybe it's just top of mind because of last night, but I'm going to put Kurt Warner at 5.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
For someone who overcame everything that he did
He did.
Mhm.
Yeah,
to
I
get
agree.
there.
Yeah.
And then I can say that I was on the opposing sideline for his first victory in the NFL.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Trent Green got hurt,
Yeah.
and we were starting on the road in St.
I was
Louis,
about to say that.
Baltimore at St. Louis, and
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going against this guy that was bagging groceries. Like, this will
Exactly.
be awesome.
Exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, yeah, we lost to them. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, who are these guys? But
Yeah.
I remember, and this is, you're getting old man Ross here, but like in my Pathfinder back when you could actually get into the airports and things, like I would help the scouting staff during the off season pick up players at the airport. So I had to pick up McNabb and drive him back to the facility. I had to pick up Torrey Holt. So I remember these guys and just being like, okay. I love talking to Torrey Holt. I loved talking to Brock Heward.
Mm-hmm.
McNabb, I think he was just, I don't know if he was just like, oh, these guys are drafting too far back to even have a chance at me. Why am I even here? Like that's the vibe I got
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just
Wow.
driving him and trying to have small talk, and it's
Well,
just like,
Yeah.
Philly booed him in the draft.
Yeah.
We were trying to get Ricky Williams, but
so I'll be unconventional and throw Kurt out there, even if just to start argument.
I like it. No,
It's no argument.
I'm there. I'm there with you. I mean,
As long as Brett Favre is not in the top 3, I'm fine.
look, I mean, Kurt Warner made the Rams the greatest show on turf. You know, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. You know, those guys alone was just with Kurt Warner's. It's just the fastest. I mean, yeah, I agree.
Well,
I agree.
but then it was taking the Cardinals to the Super Bowl as well that puts him over the top for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like then he
Right.
went somewhere else. Like he's a culture changer.
Giants, but the Giants, it was
Yeah.
before Arizona. He
Yeah.
went to Giants. It wasn't doing well. We thought his career was washed up. He goes to Arizona, and here we go. Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, Arizona seemed like they're about to be the next high-power offense behind his arm.
And stupid
So-
James Harrison returning that touchdown.
James Harrison, yeah.
What a play. What a
Yeah.
play.
That was just, it's got to be one of that and is that the same? That's the same game, right? Centennial Hall
Yes.
when he made that
Yep.
toe tap
Yes.
touchdown. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, 2 amazing plays in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just one of the best, one of the best all-time Super Bowls. It's just like, that was crazy.
It was.
I was off my seat when Harrison. I was like, and then he still got like he was like when he bowling ball himself into the end zone. I was like, oh my god, it was just
because just tackle him somewhere and the play is over and the half is over. And it was just like, no, he's gonna make it.
Yeah.
it didn't look like 11 men was tagging, like it was 22. It was just like, oh
To
my
be honest
god.
with you, I thought he wasn't coming back because the way he was just laid there, it's just like he ran 100 yards.
Well, and amen to James Harrison for returning his kids' participation trophies.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys know about
No,
that.
I do. He said, "Turn that away."
Yeah.
No, you're not taking these. You didn't earn
Right,
this.
right.
Go do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I was still on my seat when freaking they threw it in the end zone, and Gronk was almost caught that when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. That was not over at that point,
I knew.
you know. And freaking Brady's back there, and he's throwing that, and Gronk almost had that in the end zone.
That's it.
That
Yeah,
was
he almost had
that
it.
was unbelievable. The Eagles pulled that out
Yeah.
too. Oh my god, because they were the underdogs in that. I mean, the Eagles were not expected to win that
It was
Super
double
Bowl.
digits, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it double
I
digits?
mean,
the point spread.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, but.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
All right, well,
yeah.
cool. Let's switch it up a little bit. Ross, what we do is we have some games here at the end, and it's called this. This one's called This or That. So what it is, I give you 2 things, and you got to pick one or the other. All right, and you can't be like, oh, well, I don't know, this guy. No, just pick one or the other. You know what I mean? All right. So Dre, we're gonna start with you. Randall Cunningham or Donovan McNabb?
Randall Cunningham.
All right. Jermaine, Jonathan Taylor or Miles Sanders? Now remember, Miles Sanders is number 2 now the last 4 weeks, right behind Jonathan Taylor.
I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
You're taking all right.
I'm taking
All right.
Jonathan Taylor.
I think I know the answer to this one. Mike, Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance?
You know what?
You
I'm
hesitate,
going to surprise you. I'm actually still going to say Jimmy G right now. It's too late to put in Trey Lance.
He's giving you the best chance in the playoffs, right? I mean, you fight. Yeah, I got you.
all you need is Jimmy G to cut back on the turnovers, and they're in good shape. It's just when he makes the bad plays and throws it to the wrong team. So I'm still going to say Jimmy G right now.
right.
Trey Lance is next year.
All right.
Ross, I'm going to trip you up with this one. Wayne Gretzky or Connor McDavid?
I'm going McDavid. I love the new breed of players.
Wow.
You know,
okay,
like it
I
is.
mean, Wayne is supposed to be the Jordan, right? Of hockey,
well, back
so-
up. Wait a minute. So, all right. So, what's this guy's name again? What?
Connor McDavid.
Okay. All right.
He's in Edmonton as well. And
okay.
Okay.
Google a couple of his goals.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to look
guy.
up.
Yeah.
In today's game, so like today's games, you kind of have protectors.
Okay.
Like no one could breathe on Gretzky.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he got to be greatest talent. He's still the greatest talent ever, but I don't think he had to face the same things that today's players face.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If that, again, like I probably would be, if someone hears this in Canada, I'm not allowed to get through the border at this point. But
if you hold them up, what?
Gretzky was set up to succeed, right? Everyone having a role, and it was just like, it was more like he was playing Quidditch and he was Harry Potter, and he has like the bludgers and stuff like that, beating people and keeping him safe the whole time.
Right.
Like today's players get hit.
Oh yeah.
And if you hit Gretzky, your career wasn't lasting very long.
Yeah, just like if you hit Bobby Clark, Schultz was going to come and knock you out.
So it is a different game now, and there's a little bit of enforcement, but I mean, it's nowhere near what it was. And again, just nodding to the present a little bit more, like Gretzky is the great one for a reason. But I am sticking with McDavid.
Gonna stick with David. All right, cool. All right, well, we got 3 rounds. Here's round number 2. So, Dre, you're always going to hit you with this. LeBron or Kobe?
LeBron or Kobe? I'm taking Kobe.
You're taking Kobe over
I'm
LeBron.
taking Kobe. I mean, it's probably going to be another podcast, but it was game. I just feel that LeBron at this era, I'm sorry. I just cannot take him over Kobe Bryant. Okay. I just don't think he has that.
He don't have that assassin. I mean, Kobe.
That assassin type assassin. And then not only that, I'm more of a sportsmanship and games. What was it, game 6 or game 7 in Boston when he just basically turned his nose up and didn't really he gave up. To me, right there and there, I was done. Over his talent. That's why I'm being biased, I guess, because of his talent, because how he portrayed himself, and then he goes after the rings. You know what I mean? LeBron, Jordan, they didn't do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, Jermaine, I'm going to trip you up with this one: Shaq or Kareem?
Dang. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have to go with. I had to go with Kareem.
You want to go with Kareem?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kareem. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kareem.
Interesting.
Oh, it's tight. It's tight, Sal. It's tight. I'm gonna have to go with Kareem. I mean, yeah. First thing, I gotta go with Kareem.
I guess Kareem has done both hook shots over his head because he ain't going down into the post with him.
I know. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a good one, Sal.
Because nobody can touch Kareem's hook shot.
Yeah, nobody. That's a good one.
It was 12 feet in the air. You couldn't get it.
All right, I'm going to trip Mike up with this one. You ready? George Kittle or Travis Kelce?
Who? Oh, George Kittle.
George Kittle or Travis Kelce. Good one, Mike. Yeah. I like this.
That's tough. I'm going to go with Kittle.
Going with the whole.
I think Kittle, Kelce, I think is probably more talented offensively, but Kittle, I think, is more rounded. The blocking, the way to break tackles,
he's a beast.
Kittle's a beast. And that guy, when he gets the ball, it's tough to get him down.
Look, if Kittle's coming my way, man, I'm just laying down. There's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way. Oh, well, you got to tackle the proper tackle tech. No, I'm getting.
If I'm the safety and I know I'm like,
I'm going the other way, or I just trip.
He becomes possessed with rabies. I mean, he's just gone.
Aim for those shoelaces.
Yeah. Or something you come up with that cramp, I was like, I wasn't hydrated.
Alligator on it. Yeah. Ross, Baltimore Ravens or Cleveland Browns?
Baltimore Ravens. 100 out of 100 times.
All right. Okay. All right. So that's round number 2. Last one here. Dre,
right.
A framed $100 bill or Eagles losing season? There was a bet, Ross. We got to tell you.
Go ahead. Tell him before I answer. Go ahead.
So Dre put in a bet with this guy, Ron, that the Eagles would not win any more than 5 games this season. However, the kicker was that's only if Jalen Hurts was healthy. And of course, now the Eagles have won more than that. So he's saying because Hurts was out the 1 week.
Yeah, my argument was that Hurts was out that 1 week.
Okay.
The bet is null and void.
Ross,
hold on, Jermaine.
The poison pill.
Man, I'll tell you.
let me just answer with his thing, the $100 bill frame or whatever the heck you said.
That's what he said. $100 bill frame. That's what he said he was going to get.
But
Nice
wait.
$100 bill.
No. What was the $100 bill and what?
A picture frame. He was going to get a picture.
No. Your question.
Oh, a crisp $100 bill and a frame, or Eagles losing season?
That's a good one. I like it. I like it, Sam.
You got me stumped. You got me stumped, man.
Because he could keep his money if the Eagles lost. And that's what I know.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go from day when I was saying the last was 7 weeks in here. I'm gonna say Eagles losing season because that's what I said it was going to be. You know, I'm sticking my guns.
Well, the Eagles got 7 now, and they are tied for the last seed in the playoffs. So,
but you know what? Who cares? They're not going to do nothing when they get to the playoffs.
We wasn't talking about that. They're going to look. They got a shot to go to the playoffs. All right. So it's not like you thought that we was saying that the Eagles on the hot streak that they was going to the Super Bowl. That wasn't the case.
No, I didn't say that. No, I did not say that.
That's what you was telling us. So you was like, you guys think they're going to the Super Bowl?
No. Right. This Sirianni and all that, and Ross, you have to hear me from after Atlanta. After we won Atlanta and went down, I said Philadelphia can't beat nobody. They don't run the ball. They don't. I was going into tear. And I was like, I'm seeing this. The rest of the schedule, which we're going to get into, they play the Giants today. I was going to say they split with Washington, they split with Giants, and they're going to get swept by Dallas. And that's how I felt this season. So
all right, cool. All right, well, keeping this going, we'll get back into it. All right, I'm back to Jermaine here. Jermaine, here it is. Dre talking crap or Ron talking crap?
What? Who I tolerate the most?
Yes.
Since me and Dre are like, we think alike. I guess I had to tolerate. It'll be Dre.
Okay.
It'll be Dre. Because Ron, just like Ron said, that one point, he's like, he gets my blood pressure up, so every time he talks.
We'll have to
wish he was on here, Ross. You'll see what we was talking about. I wish he was on here today.
All right, I'm going to stump Mike with this one. I know he's going to hate me for this one. Bill Walsh or Mike Singletary?
Bill Walsh.
He's going Walsh.
Yeah, I mean, I love Mike Singletary. I think he was the right coach. He just didn't have the staff to support him. He had the guy that came out of retirement to call plays, didn't really know what he was doing. But no, Bill Walsh. I mean, it just that Joe Montana.
Yeah, Mike Singletary. I want winners.
You can't deny Bill Walsh, but Mike was cool. But no, definitely Bill Walsh.
All right. Ross, we're going to end it up with you, and he's going to bring it home. Flyers or Capitals?
Big tough one here. Let's go Caps.
Yes.
And I'll give him a bonus question. Rice-a-roni or beef-a-roni?
That's what you want to get slapped with, huh?
I know, right?
Beef-a-roni is my greatest story ever, I think. So my neck, I believe, has recovered. So I don't know if there are issues stemming from that ever from back in college, but yeah, beefaroni for the win.
Hey Ross, real quick, I got one more question, Sal. I'm about to go to the championship fantasy, okay? Yep. And I need to start. I'm caught in between two running backs, Miles Sanders and David Montgomery. Who should I start?
Let's see who the Bears have Seahawks.
Yeah, Bears at Seahawks, and Sanders is at the Giants. Oh, well, they're coming. Giants are coming here.
I thought I'd go with Sanders.
I think Sanders, but you know what? You all will be able to answer this better. How often did Foles go to his running back?
Ooh.
That's what I'm torn between, because when I found out that Foles was starting,
is it PPR?
Yes, it's PPR. Yes. Yeah, it's PPR. See, that's if Justin Fields or Andy Dalton was playing, Montgomery would be out of the subject, so. But then I'm looking at Sanders. Sanders is going to be sharing with Jordan Howard today. Boston Scott's probably going to be there. Kenneth Gainwell. And Sanders has he has not even scored a touchdown this season.
And Hurts will run as well.
And Hurts is running. Yeah. So that's why I'm like kind of teetering between those two. That's why I was leaning towards Sanders. But I mean, everybody's opinions, is appreciated. What you guys
So
think.
what I mean, I'm definitely someone that, and it's funny because my older brother and I are in some leagues together and we look at things differently and we've both had different levels of success at times.
Yeah.
I want touches. Right. It's just like, you know what? They may not have the most yards. They may not have this or that, but every time you touch the ball, you get an opportunity to score.
Yep, the value. Yeah.
So, and that's where a running back from the Rams or the Patriots, or like where you won't know who's touching the ball that game.
That's right.
Because the bell cow just isn't a thing anymore.
Not anymore.
As much.
No.
But
not anymore.
Montgomery gets touches. That's all. I just hope to make your final 50 minutes before kickoff difficult here.
Yeah. I feel good about what you say.
Jermaine, with the way you talking about Eagles running the
ball. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Mike and Sal.
Wait,
no.
Hold on, buddy. You're on this just ride about Eagles running the ball. You should go with what you say and go with Miles Sanders.
Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said?
No, I heard what you said, but then I didn't hear what you said.
It's a running back by committee. That's why I said Sanders could get the ball in between the 20s. And then you got Jordan Howard. Boston Scott, and Kenneth Gainwell. So that's what I'm saying. Versus David Montgomery. He's the bell cow in Chicago.
But Chicago.
So what would you rather go with? You rather go with, like Ross was saying, you rather go with a man that gets that many touches or gets volume, or you're going to go with another guy that probably get about 10 touches out of the whole game? You know what I mean? And
what did Miles Sanders do against Washington?
And where was Jordan Howard?
135 yards.
And where was Jordan Howard?
But Chicago loves to throw the screenplay.
What?
Right? So Montgomery, they do. Chicago loves to throw the screen a lot. You know. So
we're talking about volume.
I understand that.
Montgomery's on the field.
But remember, this is the Giants. This is not a non-divisional game.
Okay, so what did Miles Sanders do in the first Giants game?
He didn't do that much at all.
Exactly.
But this is different now because after coming off the Redskins and running that 134 whatever yards.
Okay, so all right, so Sanders can have 50 yards. I mean, because now you're going back to the Patriots.
Look,
Patriots, you know what I'm saying? You Patriots.
4 o'clock. You call me and tell me.
I'll call you.
Okay, because I'm gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
Go with your decision. You lost the playoffs. You're gonna be sitting there like you always do, with the TV not on and your coat on. Your wife asking you why you staring at a blank TV because you just lost your fantasy football.
This is a crisp $1 bill in a frame bet.
There you go.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
I had a quick question for Ross real quick.
Yeah.
We got time?
Yeah, go ahead. We got time to do it.
Baltimore Ravens. Playoffs or no?
I think they make it. I think they scratch and claw. Somewhat. You know what? And that may just be me wanting to take care of my friends.
Lamar and Tyler
care about in that building, and that may not be my favorite head coach in the league, but I have a lot of people that I consider family in that building. So I want them to have success, and I feel like they more often than not find a way.
Okay, Ross.
So,
real
today's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No Tyler Huntley and Lamar Jackson. And going against Cincinnati, a rival. Whew. Okay.
I mean, if you put their injured reserve group on the field next year, they might be able to beat the current team.
Yeah, I know you're right.
But that's the story of football. It's next man up, and if you can do it, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's
Ross, real quick. Last week when they played Green Bay, right, the Ravens. Remember in the first quarter, they had opportunity to go 3-0. And Harbaugh went for it, and they did not get it, okay? The final score was they lost by 2 or 3. I'm trying to remember, 31. They lost by 1.
Because they lost 2 that would have won the game.
Right. But do you think, going for what the defense gives you, do you think Harbaugh should have kicked that field goal, and they would have won by 3? I'm sorry, by 4. By Yeah, it would have been 34-31.
I definitely try. I never want to tell Harbaugh what to do
Of
because
course,
he's
but
worked his tail off to get to where he is.
Mhm.
As someone who grew up the way that I did around coaches and stuff, and I know analytics has changed a lot of this, I like points on the board.
okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
And especially earlier in the game, because it feels like, and obviously getting to watch Frank Reich every week, like the Colts go for it on fourth down all the time.
Right.
But it's one of those things, like when you can get points, and especially against an offense like the Packers, it's awesome to have 7.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can guarantee 3 and you have the best kicker in the universe,
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
if I were coaching, which I'm not good enough to do, that's what I would have wanted to do.
So would you say that Harbaugh made a mistake?
On the line, man.
I mean,
put him on
I remember, I'm a fan.
Decision. I think he could have made a better decision.
Okay, because I'm the fan of the game. I'm outside looking in. I'm looking at my TV like, why do you not kick the field goal? Okay, it's got,
Yeah.
and who knows, it would change the outcome that you probably put pressure on Green Bay and not yourselves to go for that 2-point conversion.
Right.
Well, and if you really want to nerd out, I mean, you look at the hero's journey, like the thing that Star Wars is based off of, the
Right.
thing that Lord of the Rings is
Star
based
Wars
off
fan.
of.
Yeah.
As you look at the hero's journey, you can almost put together one of these stories for each game. And it is, what's the magical element that comes in? Like it's the Force or a lightsaber in Star Wars. Here it's a turnover or a bad call that went your way. So like you need those things. But like when you purposely put yourself in a position of, I'm going to make this a little bit harder for myself, that's the gamble of it. But that's also, that's where you get these egos involved with things as well. Of just like, you know what? We're good enough and we're going to make this happen. And they try to will it to happen. But you have someone on the other side of the line of scrimmage trying to will it as well. So that's why this is the best reality TV you can get. And that's why the TV contracts are what they are every time they come up.
Right.
Well,
right.
real fast,
Awesome.
Dre. I think the reason why Harbaugh went for it, because you're looking at Green Bay and the high-powered offense. So you need as much points as you can. I believe it was anybody else, like a Jacksonville or something like that, I think he would have took the field goal. But when you're looking at Green Bay and a high-powered offense, and they was at home too. So that uses a little advantage as well. I believe, I think I'd agreed with Harbaugh with that call. But it bit him in the ass, but at the same time, it's like, okay.
Well, you know what? Sure. It is another thing that we'd kind of joke about is the hot dogs taste better after a win. Mm-hmm. So Monday morning after you lose, the complaints come in that the hot dogs were cold, the hot dogs were overpriced, this and that. Like every fan is angry about things. If you win, that hot dog was perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that
beer
thing.
Was cold, man. That was the best beer I ever had.
But it's just like, and you look at 3 plays every game. Like if you can change the outcome of 3 regular plays during the course of a game, that you could change the outcome of the game. So it's just like it's that close typically. You'll get an occasional blowout, but all these teams are. The least talented team is super talented.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're
cool.
Right.
All right, real quick, let's get to some predictions, and then we'll wrap this up really fast. We'll just get to the first game: Washington COVID team versus the Dallas. What do you got, Mike?
Dallas.
Jermaine, do I even have to ask? Casino, you can stand the name only.
Hey, Ross, you need to stay on after the podcast because I want to ask you a question because we'll go way over time.
I want to record it. I don't care if it's 2 hours. Record 1 o'clock.
Ross has games to watch, people.
I got Dallas out.
He's got Dallas. Trey, Washington COVID team or Dallas?
I got Dallas.
All right. And Ross, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys.
You're going Cowboy. All right. And then obviously, real quick, the game at hand, Eagles, Giants. Mike?
Eagles.
Jermaine? He's
Eagles. Dre?
Oh, all right. Dre?
Well, you remember last time I went to Giants and I got it, and I told you guys that the Giants were going to beat the Eagles. Now I said it's split. Now Eagles are going to take this game, but it's not going to be I really feel, Jermaine, it's a run game with Miles Sanders.
Okay.
It's going to be a
Here we
run game.
go.
We'll see.
Here we go.
Okay. All right.
So you're going with
Howard might get the goal lines if Rick, if Rick does it right. But I think between the numbers, Miles Sanders, 100 and something yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
All right. So who you going with, Dre?
Eagles.
You're going with the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah.
Ross, who you got?
EAGLES.
Eagles.
All right. I have the Eagles and Cowboys as well. So we're all pretty much in agreement on that. So Dre, you can put those in and add them to our numbers, and we'll see what happens next time.
Okay.
All right, Ross, this has been amazing, man.
Thanks,
and
yeah,
we can't
bro.
thank you enough.
Absolutely.
No,
Oh,
thank you.
man.
Hopefully I didn't babble too much. Like this was
No,
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Can I ask one more quick question?
Yeah.
Since you're saying camera films, did you work with NFL films with Steve Sable? Did you do any?
Not directly. There were things. So one of the things with the NFL Films owns all the footage
Right.
in the NFL. So if I shot something with the Ravens during a game, NFL Films owned that.
Okay.
So it was more of, there were times where I had to work with them to get specific footage and things like that. And it was a lot of working around their unbelievably talented shooters
Okay.
during games and things like that. But
Right.
like they're what a well-oiled machine of super talented people that, it's all about storytelling, and no one does it better than NFL Films. So,
Yeah.
thank you to
Awesome.
the Sable family, and thank
Yeah,
you to
absolutely.
everyone there
Absolutely.
who
Yeah.
worked their tails off to make all of that happen.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. But all right, well, cool. If you guys have questions, let us know for Ross or any of us. Again, it is obviously the enoughsaidcrew@gmail.com. This was an amazing week. Thank you very much to everybody. And we definitely appreciate Ross. We'd love to have you on again if you have the time.
Yeah.
And we'll get you on. We'll talk some more NHL next time. We didn't get to that too much, except for Gretzky.
It's not much to talk about right now.
Yeah,
it
right?
is,
We're on hold.
Towards the end of the season.
But-
Yep.
Mike, as always, it's been a pleasure. Same thing, Dre and Jermaine. And we'll catch up with you guys soon. All right.
All right.
Enjoy it.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Be well.
Yeah.
Later, everybody.